No, I will start with that. I'm just grateful to come back from obviously an opportunity to play in Hawaii and a Thanksgiving tournament, and then come home and get another home game to kind of get ourselves back well. Got a little sick for the travel and for the traditional winter stuff, but got an opportunity to get some sleep and have a couple of good days of practice, and excited for the next competition ahead of us.
How do you think your team did in those 2 games there?
In our last home game?
No, in Hawaii.
In Hawaii, I felt like that we showed some growth through the 3 games. It's 3 different styles of play, which I loved.
Okay.
3 different defensive styles of play, especially. And then obviously Hawaii on their home floor in front of their fans, and a great environment. So all great experiences.
You're like 8-0 right now. Obviously, do you like where you are, right now? I mean, because the record says that it's perfect, but you as a coach probably know way more than.
Yeah. I think that our goal is to be ready for the next game in front of us right now with the experience that we have. And so, before we played our first game, we walked into the locker room and said, we're ready for this game. And that's our objective, is to be as prepared as we can for the next challenge that's in front of us. And so I think each time we take the floor is a new challenge. Montana State is an experienced team that's won championships, been in the tournament, well coached, very disciplined, and so that next game will be a challenge for us as well. And so we've got really 1 day of practice to prepare, as do they, because they just played. And so it's getting short turnarounds. Those are great experiences for us, and another great opportunity to learn.
Do you compare sort of any at all as to kind of where you are December 3rd this year as opposed to where you were like last year? Like, where should the team be at? Like are you hitting certain sort of mile points, and do you do that? No?
Yeah, great question, because we think of it as the preparation for the season ahead of us, and there's different needs this year than there was last year. Last year we had 6 seniors, a lot of experience. This year we have a little less, significantly less experience, and so some things are just more focused on the basics of making sure our principles are in, whereas last year was more people in positions and what we would run and how we would run it, and so it's a different focus for growth, I think. But where we are this year and how we're progressing is where we would want to be. You always want to do things faster, so I think any coach would be crazy not to say you would love to get some things, us to kind of grasp them a little bit faster, but that's what competition does for us. Sometimes we get the live growth. We've got to make some adjustments quickly.
Where do you see the rebounding come into play with the team? It seems like rebounding can come from a multitude of players, different nights, different positions. Where have you seen that excel?
Yeah. I love the system that we're running right now. It puts a lot of people in a lot of different positions. And so, for instance, on the offensive boards, you can see some different people have a night. And defensively, you'll see us double box out some players and different things. And so it just frees it open for different people to have a night.
Is there one element of Daniel's game that you see the most growth in the first 8 games?
Oh gosh, it'd be hard to pick an area. I think what I love and admire most about her is her desire to be the best she can be. She has a high standard. Her work ethic is very, very good. And, this summer, we've said this, she spent a lot of time on developing her perimeter game. And when she first arrived, it was systems and playing multiple positions. And so it's been fun to see her grow. But I would say it's really what makes her special is her own high standard.
Can you talk a bit about your defense? I mean, it is right now it's on pace for some historic stuff, and whether you can continue that during the conference if you mentioned the same, but just right now, just kind of what you're doing with these non-conference things, it's almost silly. What is it about your defense that is making it really tough for the opponent? Not that you want to give it take away.
Yeah, well, and it's funny because it's the thing that we get out of film, and you're always like, oh, our defense. Every time you finish a game, there'll be some little things that just from a system standpoint that you won't have completely locked in on yet. But I love our commitment to it. That's what I would say. I think our commitment to be the best we can be and the system that we want to play. requires all 5 players to be kind of moving as one and be in sync. And we want to be an aggressive defensive team, but we want to do that without fouling and being disciplined. And so we still have a long way to go in those areas, but I like where we are headed.
Is it like, so, I mean, you've been doing this for a while, is it like anything that you kind of had in like your past teams, at like Rice, can you say that, yeah, we have the potential to be one of the best defenses that you've ever had, or anything like that?
I think it's too early to say. I think it's fair to say that it still depends on our individual and collective growth. You want to know that our student athletes, and this is a high character group, that will keep working, not be discouraged if we have a night that we aren't our best or someone else is just better, and that we need to learn from. And so I think our commitment to the process and the, kind of our daily disciplines of how we're going to get in there and do what we do each day, if we maintain that, I'm excited for who we can become.
Is it the schemes that make this defense work, or is it players?
Well, it's always the players. It is, to me. I mean, you have to have the athleticism and the IQ. You also have to have the heart and the want to, the toughness. I think all those things are necessary for a defense to be great, and I see those things growing. I think we talked a bit about our scout defense improving the last few games, that we were understanding things that we would want to take away and how we might want to scheme someone. But we still have a ways to go in those areas.
Do you think, now again, this is the big if, do you think this can translate over to the conference?
It's a great question. I mean, it's a great conference and a lot of really high-level players. And so, if one position is not quite right in a defensive philosophy or scheme, then you're going to have a breakdown. And I think that's what this conference is elite at, is high-level coaches, high-level players that will make you pay if you're not where you should be. And so, when we arrive at that point, it will be a big test.
Is there a defensive leader or captain? Any one person says, tries to take charge of it on that thing?
I feel like toughness and the effort that goes into defense becomes a leader, and I think Jada does that incredibly well. Her intensity and grittiness and dive on the floor and fight you for every possession is elite, and when she's out there, it definitely raises our intensity level. I think DeLea has moments like that. I think you're seeing us slowly grow that in some of our ball pressure players as well. So it's a process.
Yeah, I mean, because it seems that with like Jada, but it's almost easy to kind of point to her because she's like the spear of the tip there,
Mm-hmm.
And like she's the first person to engage. But it seems like, yeah, she does kind of set the tone on
Mm-hmm.
each possession because she's the first person that sees the ball.
She does, and she never takes a possession off. I mean, it is, we were just, I was watching film with one of our freshmen, and it's the intensity at which to understand that every single time the ball moves, there's another assignment, there's another job to do, is special to understand. When you get to that philosophy that this moment, this gap matters, this double gap matters, when we're in that mindset as a team, it's special. Jada does that. She never takes a possession off.
Offensively, since you guys did the record-setting night, on paper, it seems like things have tapered off.
Mm-hmm.
Has the offense tapered off, or has the offense tapered off?
I think a combination of things. I think we're defending, which slows a game down sometimes a little bit. The possession can be longer for another team. Is also, I think that we're playing teams that are doing a great job of playing very solid, systematic defenses as well. Montana State will be that. They'll be very, very great ball pressure, in gaps, early aggressive help, that takes you a while to score against. And so I think the defense can just take a little longer to break down sometimes.
How much does versatility play a role in your defense to have players be able to do multiple positions throughout the game?
Yeah. Pretty important for us. You've seen our guards switch on to posts. You've seen our posts on guards. We want to be a team that, like I said, can be pretty aggressive, which will give you some mismatches at times. But if we can continue to fight and get stronger and understand the system, I think we can be pretty good at it.
Yeah, it seems like this is the last, and I kind of hate to use this term, but it's the last kind of tune-up before you play a conference team.
Mm-hmm.
What would you like to see tomorrow night?
I think just next steps. Just simple things like we've talked about. Understanding the entire scheme for the defense can't have a breakdown. Whether it just be a simple gap or a finished with the box out. Just that complete defensive system that's on the floor that, basketball's a game of errors, and really the team that makes the less errors wins. And so we want to be that team that's starting to limit our errors, especially on the defensive end. Offensively, we are playing a system that puts people in a lot of positions. It requires a lot of skill sets. And so you're going to see us continue to just try to develop the individual skill sets so that the system can continue to thrive.
Is there one important skill set of that mix that maybe you can talk about in terms of priority for executing the offense?
Offense, I think it's per player. I mean, there's some players that have worked a little bit more on the perimeter game. We've got some guards working on the paint and, just decision making. And so also just learning one another. We're still pretty new to each other. There's times that it just kind of, the offense will stall at times and the ball should continue to move. And I think that's something that we're still finding our way with.
Have you learned more about your freshmen in these games here, and any ideas as to who is going to really kind of help you once the conference starts?
Yeah, I mean, you think about last season, our freshmen, some of them really came on mid-Pac-12, and so I think we're a staff that wants everyone to contribute, that believes that if you continue to work, there's something that you can give to our program. That's why we bring them in. If we think you have a chance to play, then you're here. And so if everyone continues to work, they can all make an impact. At what time will depend on, gains in strength, gains in knowledge of the system, and just the awareness of who we're playing, how we're scouting, and what their role would be.
That's right. Now, do you prefer 8-player rotation or 9-player rotation?
I mean, I would love a lot. I think I just want to go as deep as possible, that we can still be as efficient, and if we want to play fast and aggressive, the deeper the better for us.
And so do you think, like, as a whole, and it's kind of hard to know because you haven't gone through it yet, but has your non-conference, do you think it's going to prepare you for the conference? If you look at it, your opponents, one team has a winning record, and so you think, all right, well, has been challenging enough to win. You face half your conference is ranked. It's kind of crazy that way.
Yeah.
Is it tough enough to win what you're about to see sort of coming down the road?
Yeah, I think our schedule was built for the growth and experience that we would need to be ready to compete. And because if we had stepped out on the floor against that to start the season, I don't think we would have had the experience necessary to compete. And then we could get discouraged. And then it can just be, there's also the psychological of how far do we have to go. And so if we could do that incrementally, I think that helps us be as good as we can be at this point. But, it's a great question. I think the philosophy was, we've got to get ourselves, obviously the conference game in the middle and non-conference was kind of assigned to us, but we wanted to build up to the better teams, from a Power 5 standpoint, I should say bigger teams, by the end of non-conference. And so we now have Washington State and Louisville toward the end of the schedule. But we still have a great St. Mary's team. Montana State is dangerous. And so I think we're building to what we needed to see.
Your early thoughts on the conference right now?
The conference, yeah, is what it always is. It's really good. It's incredible coaches and players and fun to watch. And every night would be a battle. And so that's what you want.
Any last questions? Any early thoughts on Washington State? Kind of what makes that true?
Yeah.
Kind of adventurous.
I would say very frankly that I haven't given it any thought. Montana State's coming fast, and I think they're very good, and we wouldn't want to overlook it. We're very process-driven.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Let's go.
Thanks.